Good morning, everyone. I know I am coming on a minute late. I am not in my usual setup. So I'm trying to get everything situated, but we are just going to go with what we have this morning. Let's wait a few more minutes for people to come on. Happy Friday. I hope everyone had a productive week. And I'm just going to bring up something very briefly. Everyone will wait for me. As you come in, just please say good morning and where you are. What city you are from or in right now. And because I'm always operating in a virtual co-working space, you will hear some chatter in the background. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'm just self-conscious about it and you can't hear a thing. So as you come in, just please say good morning. So I know that you are here. We're just going to wait a few more minutes. All right, let's get started. My name is Makara Rumley. I founded the Hummingbird Firm. We use influence to close gaps between companies and communities. We build trust across cultural boundaries, innovating the way groups communicate by moving like a hummingbird in many directions. Our training and our consulting programs help companies and communities to talk to each other so that they can create a positive impact together. We show clients how to expect the unexpected, and that leads to nimbleness, which is essential to deal with all the different layers of cultural inputs that come in when you are working towards a solution. So, we're in the business of influence. It's the language we speak, and we enjoy the art of translating. I am the Chief Engagement Officer, and I have these community engagement chats every Friday so that I get to talk to other people who are interested in community engagement as well. And today we are going to talk about why is community engagement so emotional? Uh, if you think about it, it's a project and the project lasts for a particular period of time. Usually, depending on what it is, it could be a landfill coming into a neighborhood. It could be a new road. It could be a new bridge. It could be a park or a trail coming to a community. And people are just very curious about what makes these projects that are supposed to be improvements, right? Making places better. What makes them so controversial? Well, anytime you were doing something where in someone's backyard where they live in their front yard, they're going to have an opinion about it. They're going to have an opinion about whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether you ask for their input and suggestions. And while that's not always, legally required, it really is better to talk to the people who live in an area to make sure that what you're doing is aligned with their vision and to see what their needs are and what the history of projects are that are happening in their area. Take, for example, transportation. Transportation has a really sordid history of building roads and bridges which separate communities. So when people see transportation projects coming in, they don't automatically think, oh, this is going to make travel so much more efficient and people can get from A to B and they can get to work and their kids' um, sports practices and to see their friends and to the restaurants that they love and to go shopping. That's not immediately what a lot of people think of when it comes to transportation. They think of the the history of the divisive nature, and the results that have occurred and some of the negative impacts that have occurred from transportation projects. They say infrastructure, that's the fancy big word for anything that changes the structure and environment around where we live. And so while it may seem benign and not controversial, you'll find that when you go into a community meeting and you're talking about this particular project, it can be very emotional. When you are discussing environmental projects, so if it is uh, an industrial operation that's occurred in a neighborhood and they left pollutants behind, you know, they moved out and they didn't take everything, and what they left behind could be harmful to the health of the people who live there. Well, people are nervous and they're scared. They're hearing names of chemicals they've never heard before. They had long since taken chemistry in high school, so they have no idea what some of these metals are, or chemicals, and what their significance is. And even if they have heard of one, it's like, okay, well, what does asbestos have to do with me? And what does lead have to do with me? And what does chromium have to do with me? And copper, like in copper pipes? I mean, there's just a lot of questions that come along when you are cleaning up an area that has used a lot of chemicals, and how is that going to impact the land, the soil? If there are any emissions, how is that going to impact the health of the air? And if there's water around, whether it's the water, drinking water, or a nearby river or stream or lake, is that going to contaminate our drinking water? Is that going to contaminate the lake where I take my son fishing on Sunday mornings? Those are the questions and the concerns that people have when it comes to projects. And the other thing that can make conversations emotional is power dynamics, where people think, oh, okay, so you invited us to this meeting. We're going to bare our heart and our soul, and we're going to give you all these opinions and suggestions. But are you going to do anything with this? Does it even matter? Are you just going to do what you were going to do anyway? And you're just here because someone said that you had to talk to me, but this is a complete waste of my time. That needs to be addressed in a meeting, right? There are emotions around that. There are emotions around people concerned about whether their input is even going to be activated or used, or whether that's meaningful. So, you know, the history of the type of project involved can be a concern. The lack of understanding around what's even being discussed and what the concerns are, if it's highly, a high engineering level or high scientific level, we need to bring it down to plain language. They even say to an eighth grade level. And that's not to be insulting. It's just they find that that is the base level where we can make sure that everybody really is on the same level of vocabulary, and we're using common language. So that's one of the things that we focus on, making sure that translation is done appropriately. And then I also talked about power dynamics. Uh, does my opinion even matter? Are you even listening to me? So when you're having this exchange of information, this communication between, whether it could be representatives from the planning department at a city, and they have their engineering consulting there that's just doing the work, right? They don't know the politics and the history. They just want to come out with their their gadgets and their tools in order to take soil samples or take measurements to build structures. Um, and so they don't understand the emotions or are not equipped to deal with that as well. And and emotions are natural and emotions are fine. It's very tied into how we protect ourselves. And good morning to Daria and Darylyn and Aria who are joining us this morning. And so those need to be taken into consideration. And they all lead into why community engagement is emotional. Community engagement is emotional based off of the history of a type of project, based off of the complexity of what's being done, right? Um, and it's also based off of the power dynamics of the folks that are involved. And so understanding why these conversations are emotional and making sure to account for that, to be empathetic, to let everyone have a voice, and to also there's a communication loop that sometimes is not closed. So if you have a meeting and people give input, they want to know what you did with it. So you want to have a place where you can show where you captured all of their questions and comments, and then what your response is. Not just give a verbal response, but have a written response. And if there's anything that you can't answer in real time, to make sure to follow up with that person individually and to let everyone know that you followed up with them. Because again, people think, okay, I showed up, I gave input, I gave comments, but I have no idea where any of it went. I think it went into a black hole somewhere. So continuing to make sure that you are communicating. So that's what I wanted to share today around emotions and community engagement. Thank you for joining us. We will have some exciting things going on in August and going into September, which is our 5-year anniversary. It's our birthday month of Hummingbird Firm. So there are lots of surprises and events that we are going to have, and I very much hope that you will join us. So, Aria, if you are not already on our list to receive information about some of our events that are going on, please visit our website and you can sign up there. We would love to have you and keep you informed about what we're doing and the great information that we're sharing with everyone. And again, I just appreciate your time on this Friday morning. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Friday. Bye bye.